Hey everyone, it's Stephanie and
Edmond.
And you're tuned into the review of Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 5. All right, so hi everyone. For all my new subscribers, this is my handsome hubby. I like to bring him on a few times this season so you guys get a little bit of the male perspective, and we watch it together. We yell at the TV together. So it's always fun to kind of get into it and then let you know what we think or what he thinks. And for you guys who already know him, the People's Champ, although somebody said that Cinco is now the People's Champ.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, somebody said that Cinco is now the new People's Champ.
Cinco can't even speak. He doesn't even know English
need words.
yet.
Cinco is our son. He's our 7-month-old
I'm not afraid.
son.
He's the pitcher. I'll take that. I'll take the back seat. I'm the back seat guy now.
Yeah. So, welcome to those who don't know him.
How y'all doing? I'm Ed. Edmond is such an old name, but Ed is who I am, and I'm ready to kind of dive into this episode.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We rearranged the schedule because our schedules don't always align. So we rearranged the schedule so that we can give you this review, and let's just jump right in, okay? So episode 5, yeah, I know. Episode 5 starts out with it starts out with Chris and Paige, but it basically kind of goes through the first few days, or first maybe couple of days of the honeymoon. I think maybe 2 days. They might be one of the screenshots says like day 3 of marriage, so it might be this the first full day of the honeymoon where they spend a little time together. They wake up, they have breakfast, eventually they get together at the end, and they have like a little round robin, like a little couples night in, but they're out, but they're not really out and about. And they, answer questions, talk about how the marriage is going. So let's just jump in with Haley and Jacob. Let's kick it off with Haley and Jacob. Hey, you know who that is, right, babe?
You saw my face?
You're like, I don't know.
I'm only focused on one person.
Yeah, so Jacob
I'm here for one reason.
Jacob is the one who's kind of quirky. Haley is the one who has not been in a relationship in 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so he loves the 80s. That's how I keep describing him. He loves the 80s, so we kind of know.
Lieutenant Dan, throwback Dan.
Yeah. You know what? Surprisingly, this episode, I've been saying to you guys the last few weeks, like, I don't really have much hope. I think they're so opposite, and I think he is so quirky in such a particular way. And I felt like she's kind of like, what the heck did I get into? But this was the first episode where I thought,
it might be all right.
Maybe,
right after you finish watching some Teen Wolf.
Yeah, like, or something, right after he eBayed the DeLorean or something. They wore their little goofy glasses to dinner. I thought, okay, like, that's cute that they're trying that. She seems to be a little more relaxed, I thought, in this episode. And it just seems like maybe there might be something there. I don't know. They have a little good dynamic.
He's definitely a unique individual, but he's loving it, and I think she is. I think she can grow to it. So
yeah,
I don't see any major red flags. I can say that.
No, I mean, she hasn't been in a relationship in 7 years. We've touched on that. She's only 28. He's kind of quirky. I think that they're real opposites here. I mean, real opposites. So it's kind of, we're grasping at straws as to how they can mesh. But maybe if he can, or if she can kind of get into his quirkiness, and if she can pull him out of maybe his reserved nature, then it could work. I don't know. I mean, they're not giving me 5 stars here, but this was the first episode where I saw them together. They kissed. She said she enjoyed dinner. It felt a little more natural, because the other episodes felt awkward.
The joke about the whole, what was it, the straw, the hole, and the booty hole,
yeah, it was kind of weird. Once again, and I was on Instagram, and one of the polls was like 2 straws, like it does, or no, not 2 straws, 2 holes. Yeah,
hole. That's such a funny word.
Yeah, it's weird. All right, so that's Haley and Jade. I can't waste too much time on them. I'm bored. So next we have Virginia and Eric. So Virginia and Eric, I think, had a good episode. Virginia's the 26-year-old.
Okay.
Eric is the 34-year-old. They're the pilot. He's the pilot.
Oh, yeah. He was a little interested in this episode.
Yeah, I think that we got to see a different dynamic. So they're saying that, like, things are perfect. We haven't had anything come up. Except, in the pool, when they were talking, it came up that he has an idea of how her male friendships should now go now that they're married. Because she's just like, I grew up around brothers, and most of my friends are men, and I hang out with them, and it's not a big deal. And if you're gone, don't make it a big deal. And I have my thoughts on that. What do you think about that as a man?
I think he's too black and white with it. I think it is possible. I mean, I have a couple female friends. It's not a lot of them in that space, but it is possible. And he's too absolute with it. I think he's kind of overdoing it. However,
because he said that you just cannot have.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true. Because I mean, you're not finding everybody. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. And even if you are, some people put you in that brother, sister, and it's just weird, you know. So I think that can happen, especially if you're mature. If you're immature and you're around a bunch of crowd of people that either smoke or they drink and stuff like that, I think that could lead to some very interesting situations. For sure. You know, if excessive drinking and stuff like that. So.
But I do agree with Eric in what he's asking for, because she is kind of like, I have all guy friends, and what? It's like, and he's like, I know men. I am a man.
Yeah, no.
They are thinking this, and she's like, no, It's like, she's giving me such little girl,
all of them ain't like that.
All of them aren't like that, but most men have probably thought about it. And if you're some attractive woman to them, it's probably crossed their mind. Not that they're looking for you. And I think what he's looking for her to say is, I'm going to respect you as my husband, and there will be a shift in the dynamic of my friendships with my male friends, which I do believe needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree with
you
that.
can have friends since you were kids, best friends of the opposite sex. Once you get married, there is a shift in the level of respect that your friends of the opposite sex need to have for you because of your spouse. So if you guys talk reckless, if you say inappropriate stuff, but it's funny and, it's not that big of a deal, when you get married, there are certain things that, okay, regardless of how long we've been friends, that's not going to be
that's actually the same. They didn't talk about this, but that's actually the same for the same sex, too, because if you're married and you got a bunch of single friends and y'all all doing single stuff, going to singles clubs and stuff, and then people hollering and trying to shoot their shot, what's the odd man, the fifth guy that he's single, you the fifth person, you obviously going to have conversations, and it's like, okay, it's just weird. Like, and it's not that you put a rule on it or whatever, but usually gradually as you're married, you tend to start hanging out with other married couples. It just kind of happens organically, and I just think she'll grow out of that. If I think that's something that they could work on in time. I don't think that's going to kind of be the same. I just feel like that'll naturally play itself out.
As long as she's willing, though, because she was pushing back. She's almost like, he's not going to tell me what to do. Like, she was kind of frustrated with how he could even have a problem with that. Like, the moment we got engaged, my male friends didn't call me past a certain time. I actually don't speak to them as often as I used. We used to speak all the time. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Now it's like a certain time, like, if somebody calls late, we know it's like family. Yeah, like in specific family, not cousin Joe who you don't even speak to for real. It's like very specific people. And there was never a conversation about it. And same for me, when they got married, I immediately didn't call as late. If I do call, it's how's your wife doing? If she's there, let me talk to. There's just a level of respect that you have to have, and it's just respectful. That's what it is, and I think that's what he's looking for. And she's kind of pushing back, like, you're not going to tell me what to do. Her 26 is showing. Like,
yeah, it is. And I think they do in the future need to have a conversation about the conversations that she has with her male friends about her husband. Like, that needs to be, because that's another way people kind of sneak on in there, like, Joe the singer, and kind of be, oh, he shouldn't do that to you. Like, that foolishness happens too. And that friend has always got the best thing to say, but he's not in a relationship. So let's move forward, because we got some hot stuff to talk about. You're popping.
You can't even wait. You guys know who he's ready for, right?
Yeah. Pastor Cow. I just want to talk about Pastor Cow.
All right. So next we have Vincent and Brianna. Vincent and Brianna are my fave.
Oh yeah, I like them.
Vincent and Brianna, to me, seem like the couple who, like, if we had like a game night, you meet them at a game night, you're like, okay, Brianna's really nice, you should talk to her, Vince. And they get together. They have such a natural chemistry to me. They seem so, like, comfortable together. They consummated their marriage. I I really love them. I really, really love them. They have a natural disposition. And what I like about Vincent, because usually you'll find that women are just more hyperverbal emotionally, is he has no problem wearing his heart on the sleeve and saying how he feel and how much he's into her, and how I mean, Vincent's old relationship must have really, really burned him, because he always talks about, or maybe it's just recorded that way, how grateful he is that Brianna has his back and his ex did not. And so he's super appreciative for who she is and how she shows up just in 3 days. And they just seem like things are going really, really well. And I can see even though it's early, I can see a lot of longevity for them.
Well, let me just, I just chime in from a man's perspective. There's 2 ways to easily lose a man, like to have him just run. Number 1 is to not support his dreams. That's like, especially an entrepreneur. Speaking from experience, being an entrepreneur full time since 2007, she has always been supportive. Now, she always have given me some times where maybe you shouldn't go that route, blah, 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 but never has she just, I can't use that word. I don't have my vocab. Spat on my dreams. Yeah. And so that's huge. And because his dream and his goals, think about it, if I said, hey, I want to be president, and I was Barack back in the day, if you didn't Michelle it up and say, you can do this, listen, how are we going to make it happen? She would be gone. And he couldn't be president without her. That's how you have a marriage where I couldn't be the man I want to be or desire to be without my wife. Number 2 is to actually, there's few times where a man is truly vulnerable, not manipulatively vulnerable, but really vulnerable, and he needs his wife, he needs his rock. If you're not there in that moment, you're going to lose him, because he's going to be afraid to be vulnerable with you. If he cries in front of you, if he gets emotional, or what some women might call soft, if it's a real thing and you're not there, you're not going to last long.
Or like the family emergency. Yeah. She showed up and she gave him room to...
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
exactly what I meant, the family emergency part. And here's the difference too, that the sex that they had, he did that as a true man. He went with a gentleman. They were attracted to each other, but he waited for it to take its course. What happened was he got a level of trust with her and a level of comfort to actually make love to his wife, not just have sex with her. That's the difference. And love, it doesn't come without vulnerability. It just doesn't happen.
That's
so
a good line.
That connection can't, spade. So, I'm here. This is what I'm here for. The people champ is trying to get back in there, baby.
That's a good line.
But it's true though, especially with men. We don't know how to say that though. Yeah. We don't know how to bring it up. Like, oh man, she ain't got my back, bro. Like that's what we say to the guys. We want to say, well, she doesn't hold me when I'm emotional. Right. We don't know.
Right, but you guys need that.
But we do. Yeah. We do. You know, so we don't need to be coddled.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Okay, all right.
He's on the side of the ring with his boxing gloves on, ready to go.
They tag me in.
All right, so next we have Ryan and Clara. So Ryan and Clara, I don't know, like something is off about them. They're presenting as if things are going really well, and when they met with the couples, they were talking about how it's uncanny how they were matched, and maybe they do have a lot of similarities. Something about their chemistry is off to me. Ryan, aside from them being opposites, and it's fine because opposites do attract, the faith thing is a real big thing. Ryan is like headstrong about, okay, I want to raise my kids in church, I want to provide them a strong foundation. Clara's like, I'm okay with that, but I want my kids to explore. I mean, it's a very different perspective than Ryan, and those two don't often coincide, especially with kids, because Ryan's perspective, and most people's perspectives, is that you have to give kids a strong foundation in some direction. If they choose to do something different, then they do, whereas giving them the oasis to figure out on themselves is a very different perspective. And she said something that was like, to me, because she was like, well, we'll figure it out later. No, these are the things to discuss now. If you recall, last week I said you should have at least 5 non-negotiables that you have when thinking about spending your life with someone. Usually religion is one of those non-negotiables, because it doesn't often fare to where we figure it out and we're on opposite sides. So there's something that is completely there's a big disconnect for me. Even him wanting her to live with him after the experiment sounds great, but he is very set in his ways, and she, not only is she just the complete opposite, but she's like happy to do that. You know, there was even a line that said, I'll just like show up and like almost like spread magic over your moment, or throw, like she didn't say that, but it was literally like if you walk into a clean room and it's like, let me throw all the pillows on the floor. And that's cute for like a day, but like that's not really gonna last long. Now, true indeed, Ryan needs to like be a little more flexible. Like, you have to, both sides have to bend here. But I don't see it yet. I don't really feel it yet with them.
Yeah, I don't think it's nothing they can't get over.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm really anxious to see Ryan in this element. Like I could see him snapping and being a little controlling and not being able to make it. But the religion thing, especially with his parents being who they are, like I don't see that work. It might work short term, but I don't see that working long term.
Especially when kids get in the picture.
And then you got holidays, and then and then she's just gonna keep saying little things like, oh, I could see her saying something like, you know, this holiday doesn't even mean what it's supposed to mean, like stuff like that, where it just be like, yeah, that's not gonna fly with the fam, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know that I think that they're really like attracted to each other. Do you think they're attracted to each other? I don't get that vibe from them either.
I don't, you know, he said it's going cool. Like at the end, he kind of said it was cool. But the deal breakers, like you said, another couple with the kids thing. That was another thing that I thought was weird. How she's kind of 50-50. Maybe she's just young and maybe wants to, or maybe not. Young doesn't have anything to do
Virginia?
with it. Yeah, maybe she just.
Yeah, Virginia said that a long time ago, but in this episode, she was talking about kids. So I think
they'll be fine.
She's young.
They'll be
fine. But
okay.
I, you know, Ryan and Clara, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. There's something missing there for me.
Maybe time will make that. Let's just see what happens. But the religion part could be a problem.
For sure. Dun dun dun. Who's our final couple? The reason you all showed up here. So
Oscar the Grouch.
We have Chris and Paige. Chris and Paige, let me just give you a brief synopsis, okay? Chris and Paige had a very tumultuous episode. Early on in the episode, Chris found some devastating news out. I'm just going to give you my quick synopsis because he's going to go in, okay?
I got notes. I'm not going to even go look in my notes. I got about 40 points, but I'm into the top 4.
So, at the beginning, Chris got some devastating news, okay, that basically his ex-girlfriend or ex-fiance is pregnant. He did not want to tell Paige at all. The producers knew, everybody knew. He didn't want to tell her. He told her that it was some devastating news, then kind of created this whole victim narrative that only gave her anxiety. Eventually, he told her. She went and talked to Brianna. He went and talked to Vincent, and they had a dinner. You know, I can't. Okay, y'all. If you guys watched the episode, you know what happened. So let me just. I cannot.
I wish y'all could see how she watches this show. It's hilarious.
I don't think I despise anyone on this show more than Chris. This is the first time that I have really felt like this person was cast. And well, no, this is the first time I've 100%. I've had like questions with other people being cast where I'm like, what are their, like, why are they here? But really with Chris, there are so many wrongs with Chris that I really truly don't believe that he's here for the right reasons. Chris is a manipulator. Chris is an abuser. Okay. Chris is, he created a victim narrative. Okay. Just choice of words that he even began with. Found out some devastating, Chris should have never been chosen based off of how recently he was engaged. He's not serious about this process if he was having sex with his ex-fiance so recently. The words that he chose, the way he chooses to not communicate, that's manipulative, that's abusive. To tell someone that you have something devastating, but then I don't want to talk about it. He acts extremely immature. He's like a smooth talker, other form of manipulation, because he says things that sound okay. I mean,
give me a break.
I mean, we're watching, so we know that it's all crap. But I'm sure that this has worked for somebody who really wants it or who's just blind to BS. He says the right thing so he can get back in there, only so that he can kind of continue to play this game. Using words like devastating news. You didn't find out devastating news. You found out that your ex-fiance, who you had sex with recently, is pregnant. It's not devastating news. It's surprising, because devastating is something that's happened to me, you know? Not to me, I'm just saying devastating would be, oh my God, this devastating thing happened to me. No, you laid with another adult and did adult things, and now there's a consequence. Saying that she held it from me, she knew and she held it from me. So once again, I get to be a victim because I didn't know. She's 6 weeks pregnant. Most women don't find out that they're pregnant until about 6 weeks. Until about 6 weeks. Most women don't find out that they're pregnant because usually you have to miss a period, okay? Unless you're testing and you still can't find out until a month. So she didn't hold it from you. Whatever is happening behind the scenes, it's all crap. He is, once again, later on when they meet with the other couples and they're supporting Paige, because you are really like trash in so many languages. Oh, once again, it's not about me. So he gets all salty. They're supporting Paige, but not our marriage. God. Supporting Paige is supporting your raggedy marriage. So he gets up and what? He goes and cries on the, in the corner because nobody's rubbing his head and making him feel good because he's the victim. Then he circles back and he's really upset because they're happy and he's not upset. And it's... Chris is a lot of expletives that I cannot say and will not say, but I really, really think that he is like worse than just some of the guys who've been on here who don't care, because his behavior is intentional, and part of his problem is that if we circle back, his mama. Because you remember that mama made the excuse at brunch, well, was he drunk? That lets you know that he cries and mommy wipes his tears. And so he gets to, and then we saw how his family checked him, but didn't really check him. So he gets supported by the people closest to him. So he continues to run this game. And here's the thing. Paige, I'm going to run on Paige real quick and then I'm just let you have the floor. Paige, sis, we can't help you if you don't want to save yourself. We can't. Paige has to be held accountable. Why I feel bad for Paige is because in some ways she is she mimics someone who has been abused. I'm not saying she has. I will not say she has, but that type of storytelling to where you see their actions differently from what is being shown. Initially, you can see that she knows it's wrong, but she's like making excuses. She's coming up with reasons why. And as a faith girl, she's using God in a way that doesn't serve her, because God gives us free will and he also gives us wisdom. And you just don't get to hide under the umbrella of God or under faith and say, well, why is this thing happening to me? When you have the ability to make choices, to be accountable, to do things differently, to see red flags and to act accordingly. She's using God as this example as this reason to just do what she wants to do, because she doesn't want to lose. She doesn't want to be alone. She's already in it. So, okay, well, I'm here, so let me just figure it out, even though every part of her body, you can tell, is saying run, because this is not going to work out. But that's what someone who has been in the position of being taken advantage of in any form, that's what they do. So I could go on and on, but I'll tag you.
I'm gonna start with Paige
I'll tag you.
Yeah. We can go back and forth.
No, go ahead.
Since you left with Paige, let me just start there because it's fresh.
Okay.
First of all, her friends let her down from the jump. They could have avoided a lot of this stuff, but I thought about it and I said maybe her friends know that Paige is going to use God as it's ordained, and it's dangerous, because when a person starts using God like that, the more you attack, the closer they can go to the abuser or to the because that person is connected to God in the way she looks at it. So they might already know that this could be very dangerous because you're messing up her night, and she's not going to do anything but shut down and seclude into that situation. So that's number one. Number two, the fact that I feel like she's like had the lonely nights or been with friends that were married or during the holidays, and she just wants to put this person in there, and it's just, it doesn't even matter. It's just like I want to be married more than I want to love myself, more than I want to put myself first, because then I'll put God in there, so now I can validate it.
Right.
And what's scary is remember the first night when they got married, what I said. Do you remember, or when we restated it?
When she said he's beautiful.
Yeah, when she said he's beautiful.
Oh, I know what you said. Yeah.
And you want to say the woman?
Yeah, well, he said the first night that we watched the episode, and we saw
the first time we saw them together.
Yeah, we saw the terrible reception and everything. He said that she is going to sleep with him and pretty much stay in the marriage no matter what he does, because she's going to use God as that reason to kind of deal with whatever happens.
And not just that, it's just her when she adores this dude, and she said it was yellow flags. Let me tell you something. Men know the people they can push. Men can only do what you allow them to do. They push envelopes by nature. We're sharks, and it happens. And she was just sitting there like a piece of meat, literally. Let me tell you a couple things that also happened. One, let me just rattle it. One, he talked about her with his friends like she was a piece of meat. You don't do that to somebody you care about. You don't do that to any woman, period. It's disrespectful. And then you let your dad do it in so many words, talking about her shape. Then you go on national TV and talk about her hips. My wife is shaped. I don't ever do that. And none of my guys would ever say anything like that about her, period. Never. Not even if they wanted to. They would fix their mouth to it. They'll fix their mouth again, because it's not the place. So that let me know he didn't have any respect for marriage, a wife, or her.
Because he made room for
at all. Because he let this happen. He should have shut that down. So from there, and when she found out the things her friends did tell her, and she just let that slide, I was like, oh. And this is Chris. He's like, oh, I got me one, and I'm gonna have to hit it whether I leave her or not. So he already knew he was gonna have sex that night. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And then in the morning, it was trash the way he disrespected her. He objectified her. And I really, 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 really despise that dude. But on Paige's part too, so two more things on her before we move on. When she keeps talking about, like you said, God, it won't give me something you can't have. Yeah, well, it's in the will of God. You're on a reality show. You're pushing forward, and he's giving you signal after signal after signal. I mean, what do you need? Jesus to float down and like guide you out the room? Like, I don't understand what other hints you need.
Yeah.
That's on top. And then number two, here's the big thing. I think that the silver line, hopefully, this is my hope. This is the only way I always look at like what can come out of this. Hopefully, this situation with Paige allows other people to see that maybe you're going through the same thing, or have been through it, or are about to, and they're not recognizing because they can't see themselves, because the fish can't see the water that they're swimming in. So maybe she's a vessel for God to let somebody else see what they don't want to be in. Because a lot of you all don't know the manipulation is there until it's too late. And we're going to go into that in a second when I talk about Chris. And then the last thing is, Paige is starting to become unattractive to men that she would be attractive to. Let me just tell you what I mean. From a physical standpoint, she's attractive, she's sweet, all that good stuff. But the more and more you get closer to a guy who's really a good dude that really wants to have a family and all that other stuff, what a lot of women don't realize is what we judge, well, a lot of my guys, what we judge is the weakest thing that we have as men, the thing that we know we cannot do very well, is raise a daughter. We can raise her as much as we can, but we're not a woman. So we can't give her that blah, blah, blah. So the question is, do you want Paige raising your daughter? Do you want Paige giving male advice to your daughter? No. Because that daughter is going to end up putting me in jail, because I'm not going to let it fly as a father. I just not going down. So that's a question. Would the guy you're dating, he won't ever say this to you, but are you somebody that could be the mother of his children? If not, you will not become wifey, period. So here's the other thing. Let's get to Chris. First of all, I got to talk about it. I got to talk about this part. His pops, all right? Let's start. His pops needs to just wear a green and red sweater, because he is Daddy Kruger. Like, nobody wants to go to sleep around Daddy Kruger, because he's terrifying. He scares me. Okay, he scares every woman that has watched this show. It's like, this dude is Creep Central 101. Like, I don't know what Daddy Kruger's up to, but he's a weirdo. And he's raised a weird son. So this is, it doesn't really shock me. But that whole talking about your daughter-in-law like she's a piece of meat, which is insane. And then this is the problem we have as men raising little boys, even when they're old enough to be a man. He stunted his growth by saying, I raised a gentleman, by being honest. No, you raised an a-hole, because he's bluntly honest in a way that's not even honest. He's honest after he's had sex with her twice. That's not honest. That's not upfront. He's lying by omission many times.
He's honest
How?
when it's convenient.
6 weeks before you've had sex with somebody, you had sex with the person that you broke. I don't even believe they're off. I believe they might have pushed back the engagement. But why doesn't she know you were on Married at First Sight if you saw her 6 weeks? You're in the process by then. It's like a 2-month process. So that's trash. 2, you had sex with her while she's grieving. Trash. You shouldn't have done that either. Like, that's not something you do in somebody you've broken up. That's manipulative as well. And then you go raw. And then you know 100%. Let me tell you, as a man, you know it's 100% yours because you know you never left her. You know you never ended it. You didn't tell her you're on Married at First Sight, because if this doesn't work out, you go right back to her. And she doesn't even have to know about it until the show comes out, but you're going to manipulate that too. Because you're going to say, I just was doing it for my business, or whatever you're going to make up. It's BS. He has so many guy code validations, and you from the shy. Man, cool out with that. Your dad was talking about sex, but she can't talk about sex, but your dad can talk about sex with your wife. I don't get that. How does that work? How do you do that? And the reason why he's all about his money is because he has nothing inside. He knows deep down inside he doesn't have anything inside, and he does all these manipulative, abusive things. If you don't know what abuse is, you're looking at it. Isolation, one of the first things. Where was the brunch with her family? Why didn't they have brunch with her family? Why? Because her brother is I'm a brother, and we wouldn't have that type of stuff. But if you can't be around the family, then you're doing some dirty stuff. You're in the isolation. You can look at anybody who's ever abused somebody. That's one of the first reasons, get them away from their family. Then he started off abusing, comparing her to someone else. At the jump, talking about, oh, my wife, the dog and all that stuff. Then you have a vulnerability moment where you talk about you were in your car and blah, blah, blah. And that's what happened that night. And that's what they said in the, I think, the 30-minute thing that comes on Unfiltered, where he opened up and being vulnerable. It was a fake vulnerability to be able to have sex with her. And you knew you weren't attracted to her. You're a liar, bro. All men get recognized real. You don't have sex with a woman to try to become attracted to her. You have sex with her because you just want to have sex with her. Men use sex in a way, men use love to gain sex, when a lot of times women will use sex to gain love. And it's manipulative, and he knows it. And then you do it again in the morning, and you have a fake panic attack. You didn't have a panic attack. You saw the other episode when the real dude had a panic attack. The other guy really had a panic attack. I forgot his name. Brandon. Yeah, like we could tell he literally had a panic attack, and it's disrespectful to those that did.
It's disrespectful to those that do.
Also. That do. That's what I mean. That do.
Once again,
it's
manipulation.
That's a serious thing.
Yeah.
And then where was the crew at? Where were you going for an hour and a half? And you still, and another thing, you're a man, you didn't get your wife food. You went to go get a menu. What man comes back in the morning and doesn't bring his wife food? You could have got yourself together and sent a text, because then you get in there and he's so nonchalant because he's the victim. So trash on that, man. I really just, I can't even really get it all out. So let me just put this last thing on it, because I really just wanted to make sure that I covered the major points. But that last night when what you just said it, I think he read the 48 Laws of Power or whatever. If you haven't read that book, you should, so nobody can use those things against you. But walking away from the scene, drawing attention, and then he always tells people what they will and won't say to him, like he's God or something. Oh, you don't talk to me about, is the baby mine? That's a real question. I would have asked that question. Like,
I thought it was funny that she asked that.
You're like, but it's real.
Yeah.
Do you know it's yours? You know it's yours because you never left her alone, bro. And you got defensive because you still care for her. And you had a tattoo of her on your wrist. You shouldn't have been matched at all, and you shouldn't even dealt with this whole thing, because it was too soon. And it's just a terrible situation, man.
And he's conveniently vulnerable to speak on him leaving the situation. When you're lying, you have to be in a position of control so that people do not push you around to tell the truth, because that's obviously not what you're trying to do. So he does not want the situation to become something that he can't handle or that he can't explain. So let me leave. Let me say what you guys are going to do and aren't going to do. But if you recall, when they had the matchmaking, not even matchmaking, when they were at the bachelor party, he was asking all types of questions. Chris was all in their business. He wanted to know everything. However, you have this major thing going on, and now don't ask me that. This is best if you, the way you can respect us is to just leave us alone.
Should have asked him what's up with that prayer. That's what we should have, right? That one liner, and you supposed to be a minister? Man,
Yeah.
You fugazi. You almost as fugazi as that pencil hairline that your pastor got.
Yeah.
Like it don't get no more faker than that. Like that is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
Listen, what I would
Lord
say,
have mercy.
in closing, because for me, it's like, what can we learn from this is don't ignore the red flags. I mean, because here's the thing, and you said it, often you can't, the fish in the water or something?
A fish can't see the water they're swimming in.
I'm gonna mess that up. The fish is swimming and he loves it. And no, but it's true. Like, a lot of times, and this is why I started doing these reviews, is a lot of times we'll be watching these shows on TV and we'll be like, I can't believe they did that, and we're judging. And we do the same thing. Maybe not the exact same thing, or maybe the same thing, but you might be doing something, or you might be mimicking a thing that might be getting in the way of your relationships, whether they're romantic or platonic. And sometimes seeing it is when it hits you. Like I've watched where I was like, oh God, I can't believe you said that. And then it'll hit me, God, I've said something similar, or I've acted in a way that was like not as becoming. And I saw it because I saw it. And so as we watch this, don't ignore the red flags. If you're in a relationship that doesn't feel right, or a person is always in a victimized standpoint when they are doing things that are completely out of line or hurtful, it's not you. And a lot of times when people are really good at it, they get you to say, what's wrong with me? Or is it me? Like, that's the question. Is it me? Is it something that I'm doing? It's not. So,
I'll end on that too. I'm glad you brought that up. I want to say from the male side. So with Chris, for example, everybody's upset, and we all know he's trash. And here's the thing that has to happen though. Somebody has to care enough about him, somebody in his corner, to get him help. He needs help, and he doesn't realize it. And every person, in my opinion, before getting married should go to therapy. We should go to therapy anyway. It should be a regular part of our culture. We go to the gym to work out on our bodies. Why can't we go somewhere to work out our minds? And it's more powerful than the body, because the body follows the mind. So he needs to sit with someone and find and get that and break that attachment. The whole thing that's happening with his mom and dad, because that's where it started from. And here's the biggest reason why. Whatever soul is in that woman's belly is going to be affected by what he does or doesn't do. And so we can leave and throw him to the wolves, but he's going to do this to more people because he does. I don't even know if he knows he's an abuser. He may not even know that, but mentally he is. And if he looked at the list of the traits, he's doing them all. And he's going to affect his child, just like his dad affected him, and maybe their grandfather affected him. And it keeps going cycle after cycle until somebody mans up. And usually it's your pastor, and it just was not. And it needs to be somebody that will step up and love him enough through all of those flaws. And it might be, unfortunately, it might be Paige that gets him to see who he really is. But I do not think they should stay together. I don't think she should be the wife that sticks with him through this, but I think she may have been the catalyst to get him to where he needs to go, and herself.
Yeah, because your spouse should help you grow and continue to evolve, but your spouse isn't responsible for raising you.
Stepchild too. That quick.
There's this thing about, like, especially from a woman's perspective, if you love him, you'll help him become the man. I mean, he can evolve into a different type of man, but your job as a woman is not to raise this man and help him become a man. Like, that's not it. And right now, he is not a man. Definitely not a man that should be leading a household or raising a child. So it's unfortunate. Yeah. She might be the catalyst, like you said, for him to be able to really see himself. Because I heard a lot is going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, but from a biblical standpoint, she wants to quote all the Bible. So what about the nourishing that the husband should be nourishing and cherishing you? You're nourishing and cherishing him.
Yeah, he acts like the prize.
He's telling. And then one big flag that I saw, a lot of y'all didn't probably peep this. When he took her to the bathroom, you see how he grabbed her arm? You didn't see that. He grabbed her arm. You know, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, he did. Now I'm thinking about
and that's a small thing. I've never grabbed you like that. Never. And never would. But those little things, when the camera's off and it's a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of, did he drink? Oh my God.
Well, even the way he did it. Hello, we're all gonna find out. You have your ex.
It's so controlling. He says what he wants to say.
How he wants to do it. Your ex is pregnant. Why go into the bathroom and turn on the faucet and turn on the Holy Ghost and turn on every single thing that the fan in there and turn on the shower and take off your mic? Like, you're on a reality show. Like, stop. People stop going on a reality show because.
Let me tell you what that is. He said something most likely about his ex-fiance.
I'm sure.
Here's the thing. He doesn't want to offend her because he still cares about her.
All control.
And so he didn't want that to be seen when she watches the video. He still had to play his cards right to be the man with his son or daughter and that whole situation. And when she said, here's how you know. When she said, "Are you still have feelings for her?" He said, "It doesn't matter. You're my wife." Come on now, you cannot be boo-boo the fool and believe that it's just, "Oh, you're my wife now." He literally did not answer that because he still has feelings for her.
Well, she needs to hold him accountable because that answer wouldn't
and
have
she
flown.
says everything you're supposed to say so she can look good, but you're the parent that talks about giving a whooping and ain't nobody getting a whooping. So we gonna stay up late because we know you not swinging. You don't want no smoke and ain't giving none. So miss me with all of that, and it really hurts because I believe Paige is
a sweet girl.
Yeah, she's a sweet girl, and I think she's a sister of mine. I'm not gonna get into that in my fraternity, but I think that's what I saw, and I don't even want to get into all that. So it really hurts more. But I think her organization and my brother organization should really get with her, help her out, find her a good dude, and find her a therapist, and help her get out on the other side of this. If y'all in Atlanta, y'all see this, please try to make that happen. I know it's a small town, so let's see if we can get her and Chris some help. I really would hope and pray for that for the both of them. That's where God can work wonders, is on the both of them independently.
All right, y'all. We can go on and on, okay? But it's late. We did a special late night taping for you guys. Of course, let us know what you think. I know you will. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. And we will see you guys soon. I'll bring him back a couple of times for the remainder of the season because I know it's already been an explosive season. But I will see you guys next week.
Hopefully we get my son to say "dada" next time.
Yeah.
Mama is.
Oh, you guys love the video. Thank you guys for watching the video. I can't wait to share more stuff.
He's a hit.
Yeah, he is a hit.
Thank you for having me. I'm so blessed and honored. Namaste.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Did I do that right?
No. All right. We're tired. All right. Good night, guys. Everyone have a great weekend.